Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we are going to continue the M20 train here with Atemsis, the All-Seeing. Now this is, this is a deck that's going to make the CCO boys mad because I'm playing with some cards I shouldn't be playing with. But before I do that, I do want to give a shout out to Architect. As y'all know, we had a banning yesterday, Iona and the Paradox Engine. Now, I have 89 decks listed on Architect so far, and I couldn't figure out how to find which deck that was in, because I figured that's the easiest way, and going forward, I can just take them all out as I list them, Thank goodness I haven't built Iona yet, or I haven't finished building Urza, because y'all know it was in there. And I got on Twitter and I asked Architect for some, what I was missing. There's got to be a way to search for it. Not only did they tell me how to do it, but they actually did it for me and said, hey, dude, it's in your Kefnet deck. So, big thank you to Architect. And the bannings, yeah, I can go into that later on a different... If y'all care about my opinions on them, just leave a comment or whatnot, and I'll be happy to throw something quick together. It'd probably be just off the cuff. But anyway, Atemsis, the All-Seeing. We got a 6 mana 4/5 flyer. 3 and tap, draw 2, discard 1. This is actually, that last ability is, we want to be doing that. Now, when it deals damage to an opponent, just damage, it doesn't have to be combat damage, you may reveal your hand. If cards with at least 6 different CMCs are revealed this way, that player loses the game. Now, so obviously, I have as many different CMCs as absolutely possible. Now, there is a heavy artifact theme in the deck. So let's start with our non-basics. This is something decent, or something different. We're going to start with the non-basics and then lead into the zeros, since they're effectively, for that ability, they're kind of the same. Coral Atoll's a bounce land, of course. The Desert of the Mindful being the cycle land. Reliquary Tower is kind of important, because we are going to need no max hand size. That's just something that we're going to need. Darkstell's Citadel and Seat of the Synod, artifact lands, is going to help our artifact theme. Encroaching Waste, in case there's something random we need to get rid of. And then, of course, that Rogue's Passage that you all know and love. We're going to do these by converted mana cost. That's how I've got them grouped, because that's what our commander cares about. It cares about that one ability. Now, granted, we've got several opponents we have to do this to. So, we have Turmoil's Crypt. A lot of these we're not going to want to play until we absolutely have to. We definitely want to keep a 0 drop in our hand. We want to, once you get to the point to where you know that you've established your board presence and you are trying to actually pull off his thing. Paradise Mantle, of course, is going to help with some mana. Memnite, it's a decent blocker at 0, and Spellbook for a redundant copy of the Tower. Now, we have 1-drops. Viridian Longbow takes advantage of his ability that says deals damage. It doesn't, not combat damage. So, we could tap Atemsis to deal a point of damage, and then, if we've got the 6 CMCs, then we can do that. So, that's kind of awesome. Library of Ling, keep on. We got some card draw, so we might as well try to keep, the bigger the hand we have, the more odds that we have the 6 different CMCs spread across our hand. Of course, we have our Soul Ring, our drawing package of Brainstorm, Serum Visions, Sleight of Hand, Merchant's Dockhand, because this is not bad. You look at the top X cards, put one of them into your hand. That's not bad. And now, granted, the cost on it is a little steep at 4, but if it's into turn and you haven't done anything anyway, you might as well. And then, of course, we have a Personal Tutor. Now we move on to the 2 drops. Hermetic Study. There again, same thing as the longbow. We're just finding another way to deal that 1 point of damage directly. Howling Mine. Negate. Whoa. The Looter for more card drawing ability. Swiftfoot Boots, so, you know, they don't just start nuking Atemsis. Silvermere, Guardian Idol for some ramp. Ethereum Sculptor as some ramp. Now, Steel Overseer might be a little weak, but as I said, we do have kind of an artifact theme going here, so it's a 2-drop. It's a decent card, you know. And then, of course, Augur of Bolus to dig 3 deep. Now, let's go to our 3 drops. Check out Free from the Real, because this way we can do multiple players on the same turn. If we have the Hermetic Study or the Viridian Longbow on Atemsis, we can tap it, deal a point, show our hand, you lose. Spend a blue mana, untap it from Free from the Real, and do it again. So there is, with Free from the Real, there's a real possibility that you can kill the table, granted, albeit one at a time. We have Theft of Dreams. That's a pretty good card drawing. I mean, I play a lot of big games, 5, 6, 7 players, so there's generally always an option that has a lot of tapped creatures. We have Alloy Mirror, of course, for mana. Dictative Crufix to draw some cards. Again, another copy of the Mine. Oh, seemed like a really good place for the Archmage Ascension, too, because if we're drawing that many cards, our commander has Draw 2 written on him. It's a Sphinx. I don't know. So that way we're going to trigger this, and there's nothing cooler than, you know, tutoring instead of drawing. Muyan Ling, simply because I love this card. Okay, maybe not the card, but have you ever seen better artwork in your life? I have not. I'm going to try to get as close as I can without getting fuzzy. Yep, I'm fuzzy. I mean, she is... Ooh. Anyway. Muyan Ling. Transmogrifying Wand is an artifact, you know, so it helps the sub-theme a little bit, and it, you know, pops terrifying creatures and turns them into Ox. And then Puppet Strings to untap Atemsis to give another way to untap it. Let's see, that moves us into the 4 drops. Sleep is going to buy us a little time. Sift draws us some cards, so does Deep Analysis. Bite into Thassa, why not? It hits both. Drawn from Dreams. That's a beautiful card there. I was lucky enough to get that foil. I don't know. Something about goldfishes. I like goldfishes because they're so delicious. Frogmite and Silent Arbiter. Pretty neat. And Grafted Exoskeleton in here. Yeah, granted, I mean, we do have some big beaters coming up. But even if it's just Atemsis or whatever we tap to deal a point of damage with, that's, I don't know, that's not bad. In our 5-drop slot, of course, y'all knew Thoughtcast. Thoughtcast was actually what caused me to lean hard into the artifact. Now, granted, I didn't lean as hard as probably I should have, but Thoughtcast is the culprit. That's the reason why. Meteorite. Yes, stop laughing. I know. It's Meteorite. This is probably the first deck I've ever put Meteorite in. It is a mana rock that gives you colored mana. And you know what? Some of these cards were fine with sitting in our hand. Because we want... If you've got 2 5-drops in your hand and it's Meteorite and Jace's Ingenuity, well, I know which one I'm holding and which one I'm casting, you know? Gilded Lotus, Tezzeret's Ambition, heard you like drawing cards. Psychosis Crawler is the way to do it. I mean, like I said, we are drawing some cards here. Urza's Blueprints. Yes, it has Echo. And you know what? This may be the 6-drop that just veggies in your hand. Because the idea here is, I mean, we don't want to play every single card that's in our hand. Yeah, the mana rocks and the stuff that's going to help further get us to that point. But Spire Golem. Because on paper it costs 6, but there's a good chance if we got to, we can play it for free. Flood of Tears. This is amazing. Now, this would be really good. I know, yeah, Flood of Tears is awesome with Omniscience. We get it. Everything is awesome with Omniscience. If I had another Omniscience, I would probably put it in this deck. But then that would be really, really hard to not cast everything you've got. Supplet Form, you know, it's a 6-drop and it buys us a blocker. And Planar Portal just gets us whatever we need. And I actually like this over the bridge and the fact that this puts it in your hand. So maybe it's not a card that you need to cast at that exact moment. Maybe you just need to fill up a CMC slot in your hand. It's like, oh, wow, I look down at my hand and I have 5 different CMCs. But I've got all the pieces. Time to go fishing for that 6th one. So let's look at 7-drops. Does it look a little crooked? I think I got it crooked. 7-drops. We're going to start with Mirror Enforcer because it's always cheaper than 7, right? Meteor Golem because it is a good removal spell, as is Spine of Isha. Quicksilver Behemoth and Assert Authority. Okay, fair warning. From here on out, we are going to get ridiculous. A lot of these are nigh unplayable, or only playable in like certain random scenarios. If you know, and there's some of them I'll never cast on purpose. They're just going to chill in the hand and be one of our CMCs. So let's go to 8 mana. We've got Colossus of Akros. Sure, why not? Cumulox. There again, it's never going to cost 8. Stormtide Leviathan. Now, this is not bad here. This almost made me want to put a High Tide in the deck. I was like, no. I didn't have room. Lorthos, the Tide Maker. Yeah, I probably should put that High Tide in there. I'm sure I got a 1-drop that High Tide is better than. And we go to 9. We have 1 9-drop in Chrome Scale Drake. Of course, it has affinity. We have 1 10-drop at Deep Sea Kraken, which we're never going to pay 10 for. We're going to suspend it if we cast it at all. And we have an 11-drop. That's right, folks. We are playing with the Polar Kraken. Yeah, we'll never cast it. I hope not. Well, I say that. 11/11, Trample. Now, it's going to come into play tapped. During our upkeep, we've got to sack a land cumulative. So, the only way to one-hit kill with this is to strap on that grafted exoskeleton and deal some 13 infect. Oh my god, why is that sounding viable now? Anyway, our last card is, of course, everybody's favorite 14-drop, Blink Moth Infusion. And the CCO boys have always called this something else, and it took everything I had to call this by the right name. So, which, by the way, one of Ryan's altars is on the way, and when I get it, I'll show it to you. It's going into Yawgmoth. Oh, it's gorgeous. But anyway, that is what we have got for Atemsis. Now, yes, this is not a huge powered out deck, but they give us the commander, and this is the deck it led me anyway to build. So I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But I think right now we're gonna shuffle and cut.